Hey everybody, this is Mandy from Chapel Forge. Like everyone else, probably, I have a million tomatoes coming in from the garden, like every day, I feel like. So I'm going to be making more tomato sauce today. I had gotten a half bushel of just like bell peppers, sweet peppers, that I was going to make into salsa. Salsa is super time consuming, in my opinion at least. So I think what I'm gonna do is, yesterday I bartered some peaches for eggs, which worked out great. I had a friend that has a peach tree and he had a bunch of peaches that he had no use for, and he brought them over. I sent him off with some eggs and it worked out for everybody. So I think what I'm gonna do is just maybe do like 7 or 14 pints of peach salsa. I should be able to bang that out pretty quickly. And then I have this huge bowl of tomatoes here, and we're gonna get those in the roaster to make tomato sauce. So in the past, I have painstakingly made tomato sauce. I guess I just never did enough research to figure out the easiest way to do it. And I love the Ball book, but their process for it is painful. So, you know, we would cook them down. We'd run them through the food mill. It would be too thin, you know, all of that kind of stuff. And so honestly, I just sort of avoided it because I didn't want to deal with it. It was so time consuming. So then I was watching Sarah's video at not Three Rivers Homestead. Yes, I watch all of Jessica's videos too, but Sarah at Living Traditions Homestead, and she was talking about how she just throws them all in her Nesco roaster and purees up the seeds, the skins, the whole deal. And I'm like, this is genius. So I did this last week. It worked perfectly. I had the thickest sauce I've ever had, and it went super well. So what I'm doing right now is I have the tomatoes in a big bowl in our utility sink, just kind of rinsing them off. I do obviously take off like the little stem here, like we don't throw that in, but the rest of it you're fine. So you just like pop off the stem, you know, give this a rinse if you need to, and throw it in. I use all kinds of tomatoes. We don't grow a whole lot of big tomatoes. I maybe only put in a couple plants of big ones, you know, I'm talking like huge. So I grow a lot of Baker Creek tomatoes. So I grow a lot of tomatoes from Baker Creek. So I love heirloom tomatoes. I just love heirlooms in general. I love the striped tomatoes. So we grow tomatoes of all sizes and I use them all in sauce. Cherry tomatoes, mid-sized tomatoes, yellow, orange, red, striped, whatever. I don't discriminate against tomatoes in my tomato sauce. So we have a whole mixture of things in here that we're gonna get thrown in the roaster, and then I'll take you through this process. It's so easy. It really kind of re-sparked my interest in making tomato sauce. I think last week we made maybe 14 quarts. And it was super fast. So I'm gonna take you through that process. All right, so I have tomatoes in the roaster. I went about 3/4 of the way with tomatoes, maybe like 1/8 with peppers, 1/8 with onions. I loosely followed the Ball book recipe as far as the ratios go for the tomatoes, peppers, onions. We're gonna obviously be putting lemon juice in, so I'm not super concerned about the acidity. And my ratio is pretty well on point with the Ball book. So we're gonna put this on like 250 because I'm doing it during the day and not overnight, and I'm gonna be around in the kitchen. I'm not as concerned about it burning. If I was gonna do this overnight, I'd probably leave it down on like 150 or 200. It usually, once it starts to smell in the night, I usually wake up, panic, come down and check on it, and it's always fine. So I did put a little bit of water in the bottom, maybe 1 inch or so, just to be sure that nothing is gonna burn or stick. So we're gonna get this moving. I typically find it takes like 4 hours. Last time I did like 4. I probably left it in for actually 6, but they were probably ready closer to 4. So we're gonna let this go, and then we'll walk through the process of actually making. So we've had these tomatoes, onions, and peppers in for over a day, which whatever, they're fine. I kept it on hot. They look amazing. They're all very blistered and ready to go into the Vitamix, which is what we're gonna do next. So I'm gonna use my favorite ladle, which I finally found, which is very exciting. Get them in the Vitamix and get this all pureed up. The Vitamix just never ceases to amaze me. This took literally 5 seconds, and we have this amazing sauce that's still hot. So I'm gonna be able to get this right in the stock pot and be able to can it here right direct. So you definitely have some options when you're doing something like this. This can be the base for barbecue sauce, ketchup, You can do just the Italian tomato sauce, which we're doing. You can see all of this juice in here. So you can get some amazing tomato juice off of this. Obviously you're gonna have that pepper and onion flavor, but I mean, I feel like if you're using tomato juice in, you know, tomato soup or whatever, that's just going to add more depth of flavor to your soup. So you have so many options when you do it like this in the roast. Also, I feel like no one actually enjoys cutting peppers, not anyone that I know anyway. You can see in here that I have literally half onions. So I just cut my onions in half and threw them right in the roaster. Like, there was no slicing, dicing, none of that crap. I literally just halved them and threw them in, and they're soft enough the Vitamix tears them right up. And so I think that's just an amazing shortcut. It's a way to save a lot of tears. I know you can do like the wet cloth and the sharp knife and all that, but nonetheless, anything that saves time is a winner in my book. Also, maybe this is obvious, but I am notorious for like letting the dishes pile up and then they get like hard, and then I sit here and like complain about the fact that I have to sit here and scrub these things. So, pro tip, and maybe this isn't a pro tip and maybe everyone does this and it's just me, but if you rinse your roaster like as soon as you empty it and then you wipe it out right away, it doesn't get all crusty. It's magic. So do that as soon as you're done and you'll save yourself a lot of headache. You'll also see here, we strain this out. So we're gonna get that all dumped and get moving on to canning. So I am gonna can some of this as tomato sauce. I'm gonna do some barbecue sauce. We got some peaches today. We got some peaches earlier in the season, but we had a frost in like April, and so it was a little bit rough around here trying to find peaches. I think I did 2 or 3 bushels already that I just canned as like slices. We put some in the freeze dryer, and then I did some peach sauce, so which is great. I'm happy to have all that stuff, but we did find some more today, actually for a really good deal because they were seconds. So we're gonna do the tomato sauce like we talked about. We're gonna can the juice, obviously. I'm gonna do a little bit of ketchup, and I'm gonna do some peach barbecue sauce. So like I said, doing it this way in the roaster, you're just making an amazing base for so many things that you can make. In my ball book, which I have several, but my favorite one, which is well loved, very well loved and tattered and written on and in and all the things. The base for the barbecue sauce has the peppers and the onions right in it. I think the ketchup does. Yeah, the ketchup does too, which even if it didn't, I know this is probably not like perfect advice or whatever. Something like this, as long as I have my ratios right for the vinegar and all of that, I don't get super crazy about the acidity. I am definitely not telling you to follow like sketchy canning rules and act like botulism doesn't exist, because it 100% does. But like if it calls for sweet green or sweet red peppers and you have jalapenos and you like spicy barbecue sauce, it's probably not going to matter. Just make sure that like your weights, your cups, your whatever, all your ratios to like the vinegar amount, or lemon juice or citric acid or whatever it is that you're doing, you know, just be smart about that kind of stuff. Because obviously, as you probably know, you can't smell or see or taste botulism. So it's probably going to be too late until you know that it's there. So we're going to get this finished up and get moving on to getting fun things made like peach barbecue sauce. Womp womp. So these things happen. We didn't have a thermal break. Maybe the headspace was off. I definitely did a 1/4 inch headspace. I don't know. So we have this nice mess to clean up tomorrow, but it's way too hot to clean up now. So we did get 6 jars out of this, which is fine, whatever. I'll probably just dump this to the chickens tomorrow. They will devour it, get this pot cleaned up, and yeah, keep moving along with our ketchup and our barbecue sauce. So if these things happen to you, don't be discouraged. It happens. Okay, everybody, it's the next morning. I think I got, I don't know, 4 hours of sleep. I had to run out to our local little Amish store and pick up a few spices because I was low on a few things. So our ketchup, I did throw it in the roaster overnight just to keep it hot. I was gonna put it in the fridge, but I knew I wasn't gonna be sleeping very long, so threw it in the roaster. So it's currently cooking down, looks great, smells great. Working on the barbecue sauce, dropped in all my spices. I don't have a specific recipe for the peach barbecue sauce. Most of the ones that you find online, like they're to use fresh, like they have like an olive oil base and things like that. So I know that the acidity is going to be fine. There's vinegar, there's peaches, you know, tomatoes, whatever. So I'm not super worried about it. So we're going to get some peaches cut up. We're going to puree them in the Vitamix and get that thrown in, and then let this cook down and get nice and thick. And then my plan is to can the ketchup and the barbecue sauce at the same time today. Okay, so our ketchup is ready. Our barbecue sauce is back there. I got my canner heating up. So we are ready to can up this barbecue sauce and ketchup, and we're almost done with this project. So I will leave a link down in the description, or a few links, to to the recipes that I use. Like I said, I kind of modified like the peach barbecue sauce one and all of that, sort of modified the ketchup. So at least you'll have the right ratios for the things that matter, like the vinegar and whatever. So we're gonna get this in the canner and wrap this up. These are supposed to process, I think ketchup is 10 minutes, barbecue sauce is 20 minutes. So we'll get these in, get this wrapped up, and finish up this video. Okay, so we're finishing up this little tomato preservation project. So we got juice, we got sauce, we have ketchup, and we have peach barbecue sauce, which I'm really excited about. I'm hoping that I can do another round of probably something very similar to this. We'll have tomatoes coming in out of the garden for, I'm guessing, at least another month. We should have them well into September. So I hope this gave you some encouragement as to what to do with your tomatoes, some different things to do than just tomato sauce or whatever, which tomato sauce is great, but there are so many other great things you can do with tomatoes. And that you now have a way, hopefully, if you weren't already doing it this way, to put up your tomatoes that's super, super simple. With the roaster, cooking them down, literally letting the roaster and the Vitamix do the work for you. So if you have questions about any of these processes, I will put links to recipes in the notes so that you can check that out and let us know if you have any questions. You can always look at the homesteading resources tab at chapelhillforge.com, and there's lots of good info there too. Have a great day.